Welcome back to my channel. This whole rebuild on this Evo 9 that was abandoned. This is going to be episode 2 for my series on getting this thing revived. I'm going to go over what I've done a little bit off camera and a little bit on camera and kind of say what we have to do next. So for starters, I've taken off the entire turbo assembly here. The FP manifold is extremely hard to take off, but I went ahead, I took that off. I took the O2 housing off. Those are both sandblasted and looking pretty good. I have a Cerakote on the way. That's supposed to get here in about probably 2 days, and I'm going to be Cerakoting those in a nice black velvet, which will give me a wonderful finish on them. It'll look incredible. Super excited for that. I have not taken off the oil pan yet just because I don't know exactly when I want to do that. Just since I'm gonna have to mess with like jacking the engine up and down a little bit, but there is no gasket on there because the previous shop that was working on this car did take all of that off. So it won't be a huge thing to take it off. I just hope they didn't damage it, because looking over here, when I took off this lower intercooler pipe, they did damage this coupler here. So can I get a better angle here? You can see here, it's kind of pulled the plies apart. So I might go ahead and try and get another one of these. I just don't know exactly which one it's gonna be, but I might look on ETS's website and try and find that. I have pulled all of the timing covers off of here as well. I have everything exposed down here. I don't know if this balance shaft at the top here is bad like I thought it was. I'm starting to think it's on this side. I didn't realize that there were two on here until now. So I have another one that should be on the way hopefully pretty soon here. I'm just waiting to get the tracking info from MA Performance. And yeah, hopefully I can get it soon because I would really like to get this thing going. As far as just extra little stupid stuff, I have taken all the underglow off minus the stuff in the back, which is why that guy's hanging there, because I also have to take all the stuff out of the interior. The wife is nice enough to detail the entire interior of the car, just give you a rough vacuum. Gotta kind of do a little bit more on the back seats. They're sweet, I don't want to mess them up. And I have new seats on the way too. They're just not on the way yet, but they are ordered. I replaced the shift knob with the one out of my Speed 3, my Gen 2. Took these stickers off up here. So I had to use like a little bit of mineral spirits or something to get this off and just make it all nice and clean. All of the stickers are off the back window, but again, need to use like mineral spirits or something to get all the adhesive off, but it is almost there. I went ahead and opened up the trunk too and took all of the liners and everything, not the liner, but like the deck mat and all that. Took all that out, and it looks like there is some water getting in here somewhere. I just don't know where. So I'm gonna have to kind of look underneath here and kind of figure out where the issue is so I can get it fixed. I have all my Zero-Tick lifters here. They are all bled out now. I just did that about 10 minutes ago. I just want to watch a couple of videos, make sure I'm not gonna damage them or anything. When I go to reinstall them, I think gotta figure out if I put oil in them or not, because I just don't know. And then the next thing I can think of offhand, and probably the last thing, is I took all of the mesh off the bumper. I have some pieces down here that are blasted and ready for coating. And then I have all these guys up here that are off, but obviously not blasted. They look very crusty, kind of sad, not attractive. These are gonna all go a nice gloss black. These guys here, this guy here, is gonna get Cerakoted along with these two, just so it all matches, and it'll have a nice uniform finish that will last forever. And then I still gotta swap my stock steering wheel back in, and I think since I had to get a bigger sandblaster because those pieces won't fit in there, I have to go outdoors, and I think I'm gonna go ahead and blast this guy off and then also Cerakote at the same time I do these guys. Just that way that's all done at once and it all looks the same. So as far as tasks right now go, I don't really have too much that I can really do because I'm still waiting on parts, I'm waiting on paint, I'm waiting on Cerakote, waiting on powder coat, waiting on enough stuff where I can't really do a huge number of things. But what I can do is I can get ready for them to come in. One of which being my valve cover here. I'm going to be redoing this in a very nice color, but you can see it is horribly sun faded up here in like the Mivec Turbo portion of the valve cover, kind of normal over here, and then this is the color that it's supposed to be. So it's a big difference between those two. And I want to go ahead and order spark plugs, so I'm going to go ahead and pull all of this off and then pull the valve cover off. I don't think I'm going to pull it further than there. I'm probably just going to cover this guy up, make sure it keeps a lot of the dust and whatnot out. But I want to have it off and I want to have it cleaned up and at least get it started on being cleaned up, so that way when I get my powder coat in and I can borrow a powder coating gun, then I am good to go, ready to start on it. And then I think later on, before I go to Cerakote all of those parts, I might go ahead and Cerakote these parts right here too. It's gonna be the same amount of time to wait either way. It's gonna be a 5-day wait time on the coating to cure. So I figured I might as well just get as much done with it as I can at once and yeah, just toss it all back on. It has been a hectic and hot couple of days here. I haven't really been doing anything too interesting as of lately, just because it's a lot of prep work to kind of get stuff ready to go. However, I will kind of fill in what I've done so far. I don't have a lot of the parts here because I just coated them next door. However, I did Cerakote all of my hot side parts, a couple of big bumper pieces, and then just some other like little kind of stuff like that. It came out amazing. I used velvet black or black velvet. I think it's black velvet is the color I used. It's a C-series coating, and it came out amazing. Super easy to apply. I ran out literally at the last square inch of the last part. Can only do some touch-ups, so it is what it is, but it came out pretty good. Other than that, I do have all of my mesh and whatnot for the most part blasted. It is ready to go. I should really be finishing it up today, but I'm quite honestly very tired of working on sandblasting. Tired of just always being dirty and just, you know, I just don't want to do it at the moment. Plan is now for me to crawl underneath here. I popped off the oil pan. We're going to kind of go over what I found so far and then what I actually found to be the issue. So first things first, I do have the oil pan off. I do see a little bit of metal in here, which is what I was kind of afraid of and kind of knew was going to happen. I have not messed with the timing assembly quite yet, but what I did find is once I popped off this belt here for the balance shaft and I turn the balance shaft, I can feel it bind. Like it goes, and then it binds. I looked underneath there, and up underneath, I'll show it in just a minute, you can see one of the bearings is displaced because it, I guess, spun or something. I don't know what would have happened, but yeah, that's what caused this engine to have issues. I am so sorry if the audio is kind of awkward here. It is very hard to get everything in view. I don't know if it's actually going to focus on it, but right up there is the balance shaft, the left-hand balance shaft. That's actually where it failed. Yeah, I don't know if that came out or not, but I'll probably just record the carnage if it didn't. Doesn't look too good. So the thing about the balance shafts on here, I didn't notice there's two. There's a left-hand one, which is the one that spun the bearing and is most likely damaged, and the right-hand one, which goes right behind the oil pump and is the one that's connected to the belt. The right-hand one you can get, the left-hand one you cannot. And since that's the one that went bad, I'm forced to do a delete unless I'm able to find someone else that has one. I don't really want to buy a used balance shaft, mostly because they're probably taking it out for a reason. So we're going on a delete, which is fine, I guess. It's, you know, better to just not have it. One less thing to worry about. It's technically two less things. So plan for right now, I only have a little bit of time. I want to go ahead and pop out the cams. That way I have access to the lifters. We'll get those guys thrown in either today or tomorrow. I have all of my parts from MAP now, minus my seats that are on the way. Took a while for them to ship, but fortunately they're on the way now, finally. And I have some gaskets coming from STM that are going to finish off my project. When everything's going to be here, I don't know. And then I have some Cerakote coming from my bumper mesh because I want to do black. And I had to track down a good Cerakote to do with that, so that's on the way. But for now, I'm going to throw the tripod up. We're going to take the cams off, the timing belt, the whole timing assembly off. I'm probably going to leave the belt on, just not on, but just, you know, on the engine kind of. Because I don't really want to pop off the mount because it's what's holding it on, and I can no longer lift up the engine because I took the oil pan off and I got to clean that thing up. So it's, you know, one thing after another. how fast a car project will evolve from a quick, maybe 1 week turnaround to pulling the engine, because it's kind of how it went. So I'll kind of fill you in a little bit. So I ended up pulling the cam, which I had on video, and I believe this is either going to be part of the same video or the follow-up video. But anyway, I was pulling the cams, pulled the cam caps and everything. The exhaust cam looked really good. The intake cam did not. So you can see here, it looks good, good, still good, still good. Getting a little scratched up though. Then there's this. The scoring on this thing is so incredibly bad. I ended up having to buy a new set of cams. Somehow the front there is fine. No, there's actually some scoring on there too, but this one really got it. So yeah, for an unexpected turn of events, I just kind of figured it would be better to go ahead and replace the cams, and then I'm like, that's a lot of material in there. I wonder if the shop that checked this engine checked bearings like 3 and 4, or if they checked 1 and 2, because 1 and 2 would get any material first. And based off what I found here, that's bearing number 1. They did not check number 1. So I went ahead and pulled it. It's like it's gonna be a lot easier to try and swap bearings in there. So far, somehow the head looks fine. The crank, from what I've seen so far, I'm about to pull it and look, also looks fine. You guys want to see something crazy? So I got the engine torn apart, all the timing, everything off, got the whole rotating assembly off. I don't want to separate the head from the block just because it was recently done prior to me buying the car. And then balance shaft went, this is why I bought the car. So it's not really that look bad on the surface as far as you can tell. However, I pulled the crank because of the bearing issue, which I mentioned before on the rods. Get this. So this is the balance shaft up in here, and if you go over here, that's the bearing. This is supposed to be back here. That's not supposed to be up here. Why is that there? Yeah, so that's a thing. I don't know when that dislodged. I don't know if that dislodged and this thing just caused chaos or what happened, but yeah, we're gonna have to tear in here. The pistons and everything look good. I can hear it has compression, but I mean, you can see these mains. That one got chewed up. This one's chewed up. That one's fine, kind of. Not the worst. Not the absolute worst, but if you look at this, really bad scoring. Yeah. Really bad scoring on the last one here. Not horrible. Decent. Pretty good. So what's interesting is the furthest ones actually got it worse than the closest ones, which is normally the opposite of what happens from everything that I understand. And I mean, I was pulling this apart, and then I think it was on this guy here, this main, I was finding these bits of bearing material off the balance shaft. So I mean, this thing, when it went, it went. Okay, so I took that balance shaft out. I have to show you guys the carnage on this because it is actually insane. First of all, this is the front bearing. You can see all of this horrible heating and scoring on here. I mean, it's still like flaking off little bits. So this guy got even knocked out. I actually don't know how I'm gonna do that, but figure it out. Might end up using the balance shaft to knock it out because it's not getting replaced. I'm doing a delete now because, fun fact, this balance shaft is actually discontinued from Mitsubishi. You can get this one, you cannot get this one. So balance shafts are getting deleted. Look at this bearing on here. It is crazy scoring. It's completely warped. It came apart. I didn't do any of this, so this had to have come loose and just got beat to hell like on this balance shaft in there. And surprisingly, the balance shaft actually doesn't look bad at all until you turn it this way. Look at that. It's literally like a night and day difference there. You can see where it went. You can even look, where did I see it? You can look right here and you can see where it started getting really hot because it blued. And then yeah, it just went. This side actually doesn't look bad. I'm amazed it doesn't look worse. You see a little bit of material on there. That is crazy how bad that failed. But yeah, that, no way. No way this thing's reusable at all. Especially not the bearing, obviously. But yeah, I mean, this is what the rotating assembly looks like now. Balance shafts are out, so this will free up a little bit of extra space here. I'm not sure on this one. This bearing might actually be okay. It seems like it might need cleaned up a little bit, but it doesn't look bad. That one, I might just toss the balance shaft in there if it looks okay. But no matter what, I really got to go through here and get all of these galleys cleaned out and just make sure this thing is like spotless before I reassemble it, because that is like borderline catastrophic failure. So unfortunate but expected news on the engine. I can't really clean it the way I was wanting to, and nothing was going to work out properly or probably long term. Expected, unexpected outcome for the Ford G63 out of the Evo 9. Nothing really catastrophic, I guess, has happened to the engine, but it would, if that makes sense. So pretty much, if you were looking at like all my stuff on here, like the oil pump, balance shaft, I'll put a picture up here kind of showing what I'm talking about here. This is the balance shaft showing the horrible damage on it, which I probably showed earlier in this video. And then we have the damage as far as like where the bearing was, which caused a little bit of damage on the block side. And then we have like the cam, which is more damage. It wouldn't make sense to just try and clean it out with home methods like I was planning on doing. So this leads to where the engine currently is. It is not in the shop anymore. It is now with my machinist. I use Enos Rink in Colorado Springs. I believe they got bought out and they are going by a different name, which is getting transitioned pretty soon after they finish up their move, which they started apparently 10 days ago. They started work, I believe, today, and I dropped the engine off yesterday. But my engines, since they were 3 weeks behind then, they've gotten stuff throughout the time that they were moving. Probably about a month out on getting my engine back. So what does that mean for the 9? Not a whole lot to you, since these videos are going to be coming out probably. These will probably be caught up by about the time I get my engine back, because I still have, I believe, 1 Speed 3 videos going live tomorrow, which is going to be the engine installation, and then I still have like 2 or 3 more videos after that that are gonna be coming out, and then these Even Line videos are gonna be starting to be released. So that doesn't really mean a whole lot for you. However, for me, that means I have 2 options here. Option 1 is proceed as usual, leave everything in here, just kind of clean up little bits here and there, and then just be kind of lazy for a couple weeks, which is not something I like to do. So option 2, which is the one I'm going to be doing, which is going to be clean this thing up, put it back together so it's a rolling shell. I'm going to be either moving it out or moving it over, and then we're going to be working on some street rods in the meantime. There is a massive car show coming up at the end of August, which I will be... My original plan was to document it and have both vehicles in it. That was kind of getting tentative because of this whole project just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Fortunately though, since this whole delay with the engine and everything, I now have time to go ahead and make it happen. I got time. Pretty soon I'll have space. I can actually get at least one of them done and ready to go, get some street rods up here and start making some other content on some other cars. So, I appreciate you watching. This has been a really, really cool project. Even with all this stuff that just keeps going wrong with it, it's cars. If you're watching this, you probably know. It's not a big thing. It's not terribly unexpected. I mean, I should have planned on this anyway. It's probably for the best. It is for the best. So, yeah, we'll be picking up the Evo again pretty soon. Just enjoy some American muscle car, street rod kind of content, and then, yeah, we're gonna be covering the Rock and Rumble at the end of August. I'm gonna try and get that video out like probably within the weekend, maybe like the day after. If you've never been there, I highly recommend it. It's literally like just time traveling back to like the 50s, 60s kind of time. Like it's just all classics. Everyone just there, just hanging out, enjoying the time. There's like drag strip stuff going on. There's a full like circle track. It's a PPIR in the Springs, right in the fountain. And there's like cars just going around the circle. It's a really, really cool event. And some bomb-ass food trucks there too. So come down there if you see me and you actually recognize me, which I doubt because I'm obviously not a big YouTuber by any means, but if you see me, please say hi. I'm always down to meet up with new people. I like-minded groups, so yeah, say hi. But until then, thanks for watching. We'll pick this thing up once I get all the parts back.